Good morning. This is Margo. This is Saturday morning, November the 2nd, 2019, and I hope everyone is doing well. And I did a show 2 or 3 weeks ago about my friend who had passed away and what I was going through and all this stuff. And since then, I've been having to take care of his estate, all of his belongings, and it was, he didn't have a house. He had an apartment, and, I'd already donated all the furniture and most of the belongings, but he had a storage unit. It was 10 by 10, and I had some items in there, but most of it was his. And I've just finished going through that storage unit and just finished it yesterday and closed it out, and it was such a relief. And I realized that I've been going through this whole spiritual experience with the decluttering and the throwing out and donating, and it's really been an eye-opening experience for me. And God has been telling me for the last year to let go of everything that I can from this world in order to get ready to leave for, whenever we do leave. And no one knows the day or the hour, but, we need to be ready. And I didn't understand why it was so important to do this, but God kept saying you need to be decluttering, you need to be getting rid of stuff, you need to be letting go. And I live in a studio apartment, a small apartment, and I'm pretty cluttered over here. I had started decluttering earlier this year, and then I got sidetracked. I had to stop because I was taking care of my friend, and then once he passed away, then things just took on a life of their own on what had to get done, and we didn't live together. He had his own apartment, and we'd never lived together. We were not inclined like that. He always wanted his space, and I always wanted my space, and we wanted to remain best friends. And so I think that's a real good way to do it. But in the process, this decluttering, this going through everything, I'm telling you, it is really life-changing. And I understand now why God was telling me that I had to start decluttering, and the emotions that have come up, and just having to go through all of the mental processes, and it's been a spiritual release as well, because it's been like a life review, because there's so many things that are just thrown in boxes or thrown in the corner or put in the storage unit, and we'll say, well, we'll deal with that another time. And then, you move, or, things happen, and you just keep piling up, and you don't get a chance to go through things. And in my case, I moved so many times that I basically never unpacked between moves. And so I would just take the boxes and say, oh, well, it's all labeled and in the box. But the problem was, then I'd get ready to move again, and then I'd throw stuff in other boxes, and everything would get mixed in. And it's just been, now it's kind of been a nightmare going through all of that. And I've been going through some of my stuff, and now I'm down to my stuff and just a few boxes of his stuff. And now I'm down to 2 small storage units, and I'm clearing out or decluttering my older storage unit to to merge to get down to one small storage unit. And I still need a storage unit as long as I live in this studio apartment because it's just too small. And I have stuff that I don't want to get rid of, and I don't have a place to put it. So this is like an extra room or a garage or a closet, a large closet. And so it's just the way it is. So as long as I can afford to keep it, that's what I'm going to do. So I just wanted to talk about this because what I realized as I was going through everything is how much I changed over the years. And, you know, I've had different careers, and so with each career you have things that go with it and you feel like are important that you need to keep, and especially if you're like a writer or a musician, and you know, you have books, you have CDs, you have this, you have that, you have all of the tools of the trade too. And then as you move forward and you get older, your focus changes because you realize that you're not going to be doing all that forever. And I'm 65 and a half, and I retired. I took early Social Security at 62 because I really couldn't work anymore because of my allergies and my health. And so I've been dealing with that, and a lot of the allergies were from living in places that had mold or water exposure and things like that. And I don't have that at my current apartment. And so I've been dealing with trying to get healthy enough to just keep moving forward. And I'm still dealing with it, and I'm doing a lot better. But being exposed to all this dust in the storage units and all the old stuff, you know, it's like it's hard on me with my sinuses. And one thing that I have started doing is I've been flushing out my nasal passages with a neti pot with saline solution and a little bit of colloidal silver. I've been doing that every evening after my shower, and that's helped out a lot. But I can only do like every other day at the storage unit, and then I need the day to recuperate. So this is my day off from doing all of that. And I need at least a day off because I get tired, and I can only do an hour or 2 hours over there. And then I usually load up my car, back of my car, and take a load over to Goodwill on my way home. Or, you know, a load of trash. So it's either Goodwill and trash or just trash or just Goodwill. And so that's what I've been doing for the last month, every other day. And it's been hard on me, but it's been really good. And I really, when I was able to clear out that large storage unit yesterday, it just felt so good to just get that off of me, plus that's that amount of money I don't have to be paying out. And so it's beyond that, it's a spiritual release, because I realized that these things that I'd been carrying around were from an old life, were from an old me, and it was before I met Jesus and before I got on this spiritual walk with Jesus and this journey. And you know, I still have things to go through. It's hard to totally let go. I mean, the flesh is like, oh, you know, that was part of my experience here. And yes, it was part of the experience. But I realized that, you know, it all got me to where I am today. And even though I'm not pursuing those old interests and old things that I was doing, I'm not pursuing it anymore because I've moved beyond it. And all of those old things, including going after UFOs, going after all kinds of metaphysical things, that was then, this is now. And I realized that I'm such a different person, and I will be purging more and more and more. And, I don't know if I'm going to become a minimalist or not. I hope to pare down as much as possible. And because the more I release and let go, the easier it is on me emotionally and spiritually. And I pray over this because it's hard. And, I open up a box from the past and it's like, what do I do with this? And then I pray over it and ask God. And, a lot of memories come up, a lot of emotions come up, sometimes anger, from past relationships, sometimes, a lot of times sadness, hurt. I looked at what my dreams were, what my aspirations were, and, I'm not putting myself down or, saying I was a bad person. It was where I was right then, and that all is part of the experience here and all part of 3D. And we all have this. We all have it. But God said you need to go through and let go of as much stuff as possible. Items, things, possessions, things from 3D, because they're holding you here. And they are. They hold us here. They're a burden. They're a psychic burden. They're a spiritual burden. They're an emotional burden. And also I realized that all relationships were still kind of hanging in the wings that I had not cleared up. And, I needed to forgive people, and I needed to ask for forgiveness. And so I take all of this to God and Jesus now, and it's helped so much because it's been hard for me to just let go. I came into this world in a family who was pack rat. My whole family, pack rat. And when my father died, I had to go through the whole house. And I was the one that had to go through, basically really had to go through everything and make decisions. My brother came for one weekend to help and took the items that he wanted, but, he did not live in the same town. And so I was the executrix of the estate, and so it was up to me. And it's a huge burden. And my father died about 5 years after my mother died, and he had gotten rid of most of her possessions. And she was an English teacher, and she had books and books and books and books and books. And he donated all of those to the library. And so that was a good thing. And so it was a good thing that he had gone through all of her stuff, because if I had to go through all of her stuff and his stuff, it would have been really overwhelming. But after he died, I had like 3 estate sales and was still giving things away. Now, when my friend died, I didn't do any estate sales because there wasn't big things of value that people would have bought. It wasn't really, it was just, it might have gotten maybe $1,500, and it was just not worth it to go through all of that. Plus, I was paying rent on an apartment where all of his stuff was, and it was just too much. So I donated, and I've donated everything, and hopefully people will get good out of this. And I sold his car this week, and so that was a relief. And so it's kind of like feeling like I'm kind of unloading to get back to just me. And so, but it's interesting because it's going to be a new me, because not only do I not have my friends here anymore, and we talked every day, sometimes hours every day, and we were very close. And so the first month I felt a disentanglement of our energies, and it was actually painful to feel those energies disentangling. And so the grief was very, very overwhelming at times. But after 40 days, it was like 40 days was the magic number. As soon as I hit the 40-day mark, it was like a huge load lifted. And I haven't had the huge grief since the 40 days. And I've been able to really move forward. And so I still shed a tear. I still feel a sadness and a loss, but I don't break down every time I talk about it now. So that's a relief. And it's really also revealing when you're going through someone else's items, and you've been through anger, I've been through lots of loving experiences, but a lot of, anger and grief, and and so I pray over that, and it's like, God help me deal with this, because it has felt so overwhelming, and it felt like I just wasn't going to make it through physically, but I know I am going to make it through now, and I know that God has a plan for me after all of this. I'm not sure what that's going to look like. I'm letting go of my certifications, my hypnosis certification, and all of my life coaching certifications. I'm letting all of those go. And I'm not going to be doing the psychic work with people anymore. At most, I might be doing prayer work with them, but I will be doing these talk shows, and I will continue doing my videos on abrupt climate change and my research into that, and building my Subscribe Star membership, and also bringing the spiritual experience with the physical experience, because it's all spiritual. Everything that we're seeing here is a spiritual expression, and even the darkness is a spiritual expression. And things are getting so dark, and we need to really get our spiritual houses in order. And I think decluttering is a necessary step in getting the spiritual house in order, because when we're cluttered, we don't know what might be basically a hidden skeleton in the closet that's got ties to it. It's got energetic ties. It's got emotional ties. It's got spiritual ties. Maybe even part of a generational curse that we have to break and get rid of. We just don't know. And so it's been good to go through all this. And I have more to do. I'm not done yet. I have more to go. But as I do it, I pray over it, and I ask for forgiveness, and I do forgiveness. I forgive others, forgive the person who I feel like, persecuted me or whatever. And, we all have this. And I thought I was done with all of that, but I'm not. As long as I'm here, I've got work to do. As long as we're here, we all have spiritual work to do. And as a messenger and as a watch person on the wall, I need to be as clean as possible. I need to be as clear as possible so that I don't have anything hit in me that's like skewing my view or my perceptions. I want to be as clear a channel as possible for that God and Jesus and the divine to work through me and to express through me. And this is what I'm doing. So the body is the temple, and the environment is where the body resides. And so the environment is like a holy place as well. And I'm realizing that. And I know I need to still keep moving towards that holy place more and more and more. And this is the step I'm going through. So in this life review, I had stuff back from high school. I don't know. I haven't found stuff back from childhood. I think I got rid of all of that, or most of it. I had stuff from college. I haven't gotten to the pictures yet. I don't know what I'm going to do. I took pictures everywhere I was living. I don't know what I'm going to do with all of those. I don't know. But I'll be praying over that too. Journals, I don't know what I'm going to do with all of those yet. I might just shred a lot of them. I might want to keep them to see where I was at and what kind of demons I was dealing with, because I had demons, and I still have to fight them, even though I'm shielded and I'm walking with Jesus as much as possible. There are things that open the doors. I listened to a talk recently about how anger opens the door to the demonic forces to come in and get a foothold again. And so we really have to get a handle on our anger and watch what triggers us and not react. Not react to it. If you're with someone who's going off on a rage, not react. Don't agree with it. Don't disagree with it. And just say the Lord's Prayer and ask for protection, and then deal with it. And that was the gentleman's advice. And I've been dealing with some anger issues, and I know it's, in the past I'd say, well, it's an emotion. We need to express our anger. Well, there are ways to express it where you won't be hurting other people. And I don't know. I'm working on that. I'm working on it. So it's all a journey. It's not easy. It's all a journey. So we don't have any callers today. If anyone wants to call in, the number is 563-999-3510. If you want to talk about your decluttering experience. And there's a fine line between being cluttered and hoarding. And if you're a prepper, there's even a finer line. And, I know everybody says, oh, get stocked up, get prepped up. But, there's only so much you can do, and then you have to put your faith in God, because this is not our world, and this is not where we're going to be comfortable. Yes, we need to be here as long as we need to be until God takes us or Jesus takes us. But if we're really walking with Christ and with God, they'll provide. They'll provide for us if we're really walking with Him and we're really trusting and having faith. They will provide for us so that we can do their work or His work, so that we can do the work. And if we have anything dark in us, and we've got a bunch of anger, and we've got a bunch of fear, and we're hanging on to these earthly things and hanging on to the past and not willing to just step out in faith with them, you won't be provided for. That's what I've realized. And I've had to step out in faith a few times, especially this last year. It's been really hard to just step out in faith and let go of old practices and old beliefs and old things. And I'm still evolving with that. I'm still evolving. But we need to put our faith in God and Jesus. And we need to be praying, and we need to be asking for forgiveness. And if there are things that we need to be forgiven of, we need to ask God to make it clear, ask the Holy Spirit to show it to us if it's something we forgot or something we've, just stuffed away. We need to ask that to be revealed so that we can process that and ask for forgiveness and then stop doing that behavior and walk away from it. Just walk away from it and become as clear a vessel as possible so that the Holy Spirit can move through us in these end times. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for today. My name is Margo. I love you guys. I'm praying for everyone. We are in the end times. No one knows the day or the hour, but I do recommend that everyone get your spiritual house in order before it's too late. Get right with God and Jesus. It's easy to do. And then walk the straight and narrow until it's time to go. Until next time, God bless you. Go in peace, and goodbye.